I can actually go and speak to people in terms of like saying to them, I'm having these issues. It's not all about academics. It's not about
No.
this course is too hard, or it's just about me having to have that confidentiality and feel warm and heard of.
I think it's always really daunting, regardless of what university you go to and where you go to. You always have that picture in your mind of the big university lecture theatre with 400 people in it, where you sort of sat in a corner and you're just listening to a lecture go along. But I think at Hull you realise that quickly it's more about the smaller scale, and you get to sort of go into little tutorials where it's only 15 of you and you're more one-to-one with the lecturers. And I think for business itself, it's such a huge area. There's so many sectors that you could go into. It's really daunting picking one area so early. And that's the beauty of the first year, is that it gives you that opportunity to see, well, here's the accounting module. Am I sort of interested in that? Am I good at that? Or am I more interested in marketing, supply chain, all these different areas, entrepreneurship, sustainability? And I think a lot of my friends particularly weren't so sure as to what area they wanted to go in. They just knew that business was their interest. And after that first year, they really got an idea for, well, I'm really good at sustainability. It's obviously where the future is, and I'm really passionate about it. So then into that second year, I can specialize and take a lot more modules into sustainability. So I think it's always really daunting going to university, the whole university life as well. But it becomes really small, even though it feels like you're at such a, there's thousands of students, but you find your own little families of friends, whether that be at accommodation or within the business and the subject area.
Mm. No, that's good because I remember when I was late, like you said earlier, I've always seen my parents starting a business. So at a tender age, my idea of business was like, grow up, have your own business, employ people, make money. Do you know what I mean? Like, continue doing that. I feel like it got to the point when I was growing and I'm like, okay, there's actually something here about business. It's like, it's just there's so many branches to it. It's like a tree. And then you can like, pick different fruits you want to like eat and stuff. And then when I got to the university, it felt like, wow. I didn't even know there was logistics as a business. Do you know what I mean? I know business is like creative business or marketing and then economics. But then as time where I'm like, accounting, I thought accounting is more of like, mathematicians doing your finance bit. But I feel like with business, I got a very, like a very view, like a large view, I would say, of like, I can actually do marketing as a business or just do admin, which is more popular. Then as you grow, you tend to find out like there's actually more you can go into in terms of like being a digital media like you were, or you want to be a business analyst. So I feel like there's a lot more to business, and there's a lot more that, if you don't ask that question, you just don't know. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if you just continue growing, I feel like when I came here as well, I was asking tons of questions. I'm like, okay, so what's this? Okay, is that okay? You sure? I just want to know everything. I just want to know, is this, is that, is that what you say it is? So I feel like with business, it kind of gave me a scope of, if I do business, I can easily go into this. If I get bored of it, I can easily go into this. I feel like that's what business gave me. In terms of like growing up to see more business as a larger scope. So yeah.
So many
I
experiences, isn't
know.
it? And
Yeah.
just, especially if you just went for business management and then you could sort of pick and choose
Mm.
what modules sort of
Yeah.
tamed your interest,
And
I
you're not
suppose.
limited to it as well. It's just like, for example, studying construction. You just gonna have to do construction, do you know what I mean? But with business, you can do so many things. Like I can just decide to just be, oh yeah, I can just be a marketer and an advert, and I feel like it's broad. Like as you grow, it just becomes broader and broader, the experience as well. So I feel like business kind of like is a larger than what we see as a narrow thing.
And it's not all at the university as well. In that third year, you can choose to do like me and go on a placement, or you can go for the study abroad, which I know a lot of my friends have done, going all the way across to Australia to live down under for a year, or go to Arizona in the US. There's so many choices that you can do both in university and
Yeah.
away from university as well. within business, I like to think the degree itself is sort of split into two halves across the week. And you have the first half, which is your core lectures where you cover most of the content. And then the second half is your tutorials where you take all of the learning and sort of bring it into a group environment, doing group tasks and projects on it, or whether that be doing something by yourself or coming up with a marketing, what's the word? Plan, that's the word. Plan, for instance. So yeah, I like to think that it's split into two halves, and then outside of that, you're given a lot of freedom. I think a lot of students don't realise that university isn't taken up mostly by your lectures. You do have a lot of free time, whether that be to go to the library, to work on stuff, to be in the business school, and to be in and around going into different societies, whether that be sport in my case, or anything really. I mean, there's about over 100 societies at the university, I think, so you can fill your weeks. And I like to say to my dad that you can never predict the next from one day to the next what you're going to be up to at university. There's always something coming along that you didn't expect.
Which is true because I feel like as a last year student, I feel it's becoming more real. Like you get to experience a lot of the real world now, and most of my modules are all focused on life business. It's not like, oh yeah, we'll give you a scenario. No, it's like this is it, this is it. So I feel like that being the case of me, working with the life business and working with the people in the business, it kind of like makes me want to be like, okay, it's like bringing my personal life where I've learned the skills, the experience, and then bringing it now into this last year. It's actually like help a business in terms of like helping them with consultancy, like I'm doing now for business that is like into what is people that deal with faith. I don't know what they are called, but me putting my skills, what I've learned, entrepreneurial marketing, every other background I've learned so far. I think this is what it comes into, and also like I attend uni like 3 times in a week. So other days I'm part of the business society group. So it's like me helping our students as well. Because what I've noticed in my society currently is like there are students who don't even know what to do. Like they're in the business school, yeah, but they don't know there's actually so many societies that they can be part of. And then being part of the society, we kind of help students who are struggling with, having to read. Because some people like they've been out from education for years, and then them coming back to education is like, wow, everything has changed. Because I have this friend of mine that's been out of education for 15 years. And then her coming back, and she's part of my society, hence what I'm saying it. Her coming back here is like, there's a group of people, of students, there's gathering, every once a week to do some reading week. So which is really good because then you get to be in the midst of friendly and family environments as well. So I take that time as well outside of uni because this is no longer uni to help out students who are going through that as well. And I feel like a lot of students think joining society is a bit of a, pointless. But I wouldn't really say it's pointless because that's where you have connections. That's where you meet people that can actually help you with your model courses because you don't even know where the connection is going to come from. So I feel like in your free time, it's not just about getting that part-time jobs, trying to get a bit of money, which you can do, but at the same time, try to be, joined up in society, trying to, explore your connections as well, because I feel like that's where you grow as a student as well.
There's
So
so many
yeah.
events, isn't there? Like the business ball that
Yeah.
we ran this year, which was over at the Deep, and you get so many different experiences and different events. Like we've had tons of guest talkers
Sure.
come in as well, and we've done our bit for charity. Like myself and Iwona, another student, ran a project which was for Ukraine, so getting Ukrainian donations across the university, and we had a big truckload, which was great to help out in the way we can. And since then, the university's now partnered with Ukraine universities to bring over, refugees that can then continue their studies, begin studies.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
For me, it's that idea of it being campus-based, and it's those conversations that aren't part of the curriculum, but it's just those, how are you doing? How are you getting on? Finding out kind of, if you've got any anything worrying you at the minute, can I help? And it's those putting you in touch with or directing you, or maybe let's just sit down and have a coffee and a chat about that. And that's the sort of things that come from this campus space, because we are all here together. We see one another in the corridors, you know, and it's hi, and just those conversations where we can kind of support one another. That's
It's not
important.
limited to business either. I mean, I have
No.
as many sort of connections and friends outside of the business school. I mean, I've lived with people that don't do anything, you know, they do medicine, for instance, or psychology, criminology, from all different areas of the university. So it's not just limited to the business school as well. You get a big array of different people, different backgrounds, studying different things, different years as well, through your societies as well. So it's a great place to meet people for life as well.
I was just going to say, there's one thing that is quite striking when we bring in graduates and employee graduates. We seem to bring them in twos and threes, and they seem to be very friendly and close. And I've got a friend, or oh, well, there's a job, can I recommend them? And actually, I guess you touched upon it with the campus-based thing. And one of the things that is quite obvious, and maybe it's a topic for another time, but clearly there's a great camaraderie and social atmosphere and ecosystem for people to kind of exist and, you know, enjoy each other's company. I mean, we see and feel it, because whenever we bring one graduate in, we inevitably bring two or three of their friends in at the same time, and before you know it, you've got two or three really good friends who know each other really well, and that's also good for our business. It's very healthy that people can come in and you know, they feel more confident to bring their personality and the social elements in a group than they might do on their own.
That's about understanding individuals, isn't it? And where their strengths lie and where their passions are. And yeah, I think that comes from just knowing one another.
Yeah. I remember, like I say, coming into the uni, and I've never been in a uni background before. So the first time I came into the uni is like, well, aside from the teachers, there was no like you know, people to speak with. And then I was walking around the university when I saw University Hub, Student Hub, sorry. And I'm like, okay, what is going on in the Student Hub? I didn't even know what hub is, or what Student Hub is, or what they do. So as I walked into them, I'm like, so what, you know, what things are available to me, you know, because I feel like teachers, what they just tell you is, we are there for you, there is support, you know, come to us, email us, Teams us. So when I walked into, they were like, oh yeah, there's so many societies you can join. We can actually help you, you know, in terms of your well-being as well. So I felt that me going into there, without even asking, I feel like you just have to sometimes go in and ask the questions yourself. So I feel like when I went in there and asked them, like, this is what is available for you as a student. And I feel like not every student in this uni alone knows what support is available to them. And I feel like the part that I'm able to ask, you know, can I actually be part of this? Can I actually, you know, call these people and, you know, speak to them about mental issues and stuff? And actually, yeah, you know, it's not a bit of a burden, because I was speaking to Fiona yesterday, and I was saying, like, sometimes I find it, me connecting to people, a bit of inconvenient. Not like my peers, but like talking to different people that's not within my age group or anything. I find a little bit of inconvenience. She was like, no, it's not an inconvenient at all. So I think with that mindset as well, because I already knew it wasn't, but amongst my peers, I knew it wasn't an inconvenient. But with the same thoughts as well, it's like, I can actually go and speak to people in terms of like saying to them, I'm having these issues. It's not all about academics. It's not about this course is too hard, or, you know, it's just about me having to have that confidentiality and feel warm and heard of. And I feel like that really hurt me as well when I first came in, because I was a novice. I didn't even know my left to my right. So I feel like there was a lot of support on the student hub that actually like gave me the confidence and the courage to actually like focus on my education and like personalize my personal life with academics, and then be able to like do the same things at the same time. So I feel like the support is there. We just have to like ask to find out what support is good for you. So personally, that's it. Yeah.
I think student to student, it's great university because you've got such different people doing such different things and doing such different assignments at different times that you're always there to sort of help each other, and particularly within your societies as well, where it's all one big group, and when exam season comes around, we're all sort of there to give that pat on the back when it's needed. And even with other business students as well, we'll all be, for instance, I remember me and Will, who did one of our sustainability modules last year. We were sort of like, right, how are we going to tackle this? We were doing different investigations into different companies, but we'd like go to the library and we'd help each other along with, well, what's this issue? How am I sort of going to explain this in a clearer way? Because there's always people in the same position as you, maybe not studying the same degree, maybe not even in the same year as you, but they're always going to be there to help as well.
I think one thing that's, I wouldn't say challenging, but more of a worry for me was kind of the whole applying to placements. You don't realise how kind of time consuming it is. And applications will ask for a CV and then ask for you to write everything that's on your CV in questions, which seems a bit counterintuitive, so I don't really know why they do it. But so there's things like that, and then if you do pass that first stage, you have assessment centres or psychometric tests, interviews, all sorts of things. And trying to juggle that with studies and other things as well can be quite difficult. But also, even though everybody tells you not to, you do get your heart set on certain roles. I had my heart set on a role really badly, and I'm starting to think I haven't got it. So for me, it's kind of like you sit there and you think, do I even want to do this anymore? Like, if I really wanted that role, if that role doesn't want me, am I really going to fit in any other roles? Or I feel like I'm wasting my time. But then you've kind of got to think to yourself that the right role will come along, and with the kind of support that we have, so we have a placement class that Antonio is the lecturer of, and we also have 2 members of staff in the university who help us, and you can do mock interviews. There's always kind of the support there on if you're struggling to even find placements. We get placements sent to us that are recommended ones, things like that. So it's kind of just, you've got to dust yourself off, think the right one will be somewhere for me, and eventually I will get it, and kind of just keep pushing until you find the one that you're happy with.